Even the universe has an end too. With its incredible scale and scope, it may appear that this reality will continue indefinitely, yet, according to one model, an exceedingly odd fate awaits it at the end of the line. Hello and welcome to Z. And today we're going to tackle an incredible question. What if we lived in a black dwarf universe? Do you require answers to the major questions? Are you insatiably curious? Then why not subscribe to Z for more videos like this one and ring the bell for more thought-provoking information. We reside on one of the solar system's 8 verified planets. At the most conservative estimate, we circle one of 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. According to NASA, the Milky Way is simply one average-sized galaxy among around 200 billion galaxies in the universe as a whole. The universe is 13.8 billion years old, with a visible portion measuring 93 billion light-years across. The unobservable universe has the potential to be infinite in size. The entire entity is also expanding at a rapid pace, eating the apparent nothingness beyond. Nonetheless, it may and will perish. Humankind has grappled with the ultimate fate of the universe for ages, but never more so than in the last few decades. The list of possible possibilities is already well recognized. It's possible that our expanding universe will go into reverse, resulting in a big crunch. It's possible that expansion will continue until it can't anymore in the Big Rip. Or that all of the energy in the universe finally runs out, resulting in a big freeze. With all of those possibilities, it's not like we're ever here today and gone tomorrow. If humans were still alive at the end of time, which is laughably unlikely, but still it would be a very gradual grinding to a halt over billions, if not trillions, of years. There are some scenarios in which this would not be the case, such as if this universe is simply a toy for a higher power, who then decides to turn it off. That would be immediate. But it's also not an end of the universe hypothesis that scores particularly high in terms of what's most likely right now. No matter which path the universe takes, current science predicts a long and slow death. For today's video, however, we're imagining that the big crunch will not occur. Instead, we're in a reality where we're either going to the Big Rip or going to freeze. The cosmos does not rebound and retract, it just continues to expand, and its dynamics remain basically constant. In order to comprehend what will happen next, we can first look at our own sun. The sun has been blissfully blazing for around 4.6 billion years, and the rest of the solar system formed around it very early in its life. The inner, stony planets, the outer, gaseous worlds, the many asteroids and cosmic dust. However, we know that the sun, in its current configuration, has most certainly passed the halfway point in its life. It is anticipated to become a red giant in around 4 billion years. To surge outwards as part of a ruthless, scorching expansion that will profoundly transform its surroundings, including the Earth, which may be consumed entirely. However, while the sun's move to the red giant stage will be historic, its narrative does not end there. It's sometimes depicted as though the red giant will be some kind of ultimate explosion for our star, but, truly, it's the sun reinventing itself. In turning into a red giant, the sun's fusion of hydrogen into helium stops. For a while, it will fuse helium into carbon instead, as it enters into a whole new era. Around half of the sun's mass will be ejected into space, while the other half will remain as a white dwarf. A scorching ball of incredible density, roughly the size of Earth now, or slightly larger. It will be a long time before the sun's next major change. It will simply cool down in its white dwarf form, but due to the immense energy contained within it, that process will take at least a quadrillion years. Many, many times longer than the universe's total age to date. When it has cooled to nearly absolute zero, it will no longer emit visible light. It will no longer be producing much energy and will be left as an impeccably dark mass suspended in space. Our sun, the star that once provided everything we needed to live, has now reached the end of its timeline and has become a black dwarf. A black dwarf is currently a hypothetical star type, as there hasn't been enough time in the universe for any of them to form. Scientists believe that this is the ultimate fate of many low-mass stars, including our sun. Other endgames for more massive stars exist, such as collapsing into a black hole or a neutron star. These fates, however, are not possible for smaller stellar masses. They are classified as relics of what they once were when they approached black dwarf. The power within them has dwindled, yet they may still survive until the end of the universe itself via the Big Rip or Big Freeze. So what would happen if we lived in a universe populated by black dwarfs? In essence, nothing much. Imagine that you had a working time machine shooting as far forward in time as it's conceivable to go. Trillions upon trillions of years later than now, you may well arrive at a moment when black dwarfs and black holes are all there is. Only, thanks to growth, none of these essentially undetectable objects are even near together anymore. Millions of light years divide one star husk from the next. The planets that once whirled around them are long gone, the chemical makeup of the universe has broken down, and the prospects for life are almost probably non-existent. More than any other doomsday scenario, this really is the end of all things. That is, unless life has found a way. Again, what we're imagining here is a time so far distant from right now that really it's impossible to comprehend. Modern humans are only a few 100,000 years old and have only been around for a minuscule percentage of the Earth's and the Sun's overall existence. Meanwhile, the Earth and the Sun have only been here for roughly a third of the duration that the cosmos itself has. But even all of that, everything that has transpired thus far melts into minuscule insignificance compared to anything that makes it to the black dwarf age. If life has survived, and that's one of the greatest ifs we've ever considered on this channel, it can only indicate one of two things. Either life has evolved to a completely non-physical state and no longer relies on the cosmos to sustain it, or life has cracked open the multiverse and can observe the fate of our universe from another dimension. What's your verdict? Could life survive to see space as we know it marked only by frigid and drained black dwarfs? Or is this a jump into the future that nothing else can take? It's certainly one of the bleaker scenarios for how all of this could finish. The sun as we know it, as we have always known it, appears to be eternal. An unrivaled, never-ending power source. But, unfortunately, it isn't, and it will one day go away forever. Between now and then, and an apparently much more pressing problem for Earth, at least, is the red giant that the sun will inflate into in around 4 billion years' time. For life on Earth, this means that our planet will become too hot to survive on in less than 1 billion years. Our days are already numbered, and our planet is bracing itself for a massive struggle. But, while it may appear that the approaching red behemoth is all that needs to be worried about, there will come a time when even that will be forgotten. As we are, it can be easy to forget exactly how transitory our own existences will ultimately prove to be. Not simply individually, not even as a species, but as a globe. Because, while we might never glimpse quite so far into the future ourselves, that's what would happen if we lived in a black dwarf universe. What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for the latest stuff.